Welcome to session 3. Hopefully you've managed to take a week-long break between session 2 and session 3. And hopefully you're starting to be more mindful and notice different things that are going on in your life, more accepting and non-judging of your experience and happy just to be exactly the way you are. I'm really keen to get any feedback, so please let me know how you're going, what you're finding, what challenges you have. And so last session we focused on emotions and stress management. This session we focus on happiness and relating to others. But as usual, we start with the OVO pause. And you're all experts now. So I'll allow you just to take this moment to come completely into this present moment by taking an OVO pause. So pausing to let the true experience you're having come in, accepting this moment non-judgmentally and with curiosity, observing yourself, your mind, your body and your environment. Take a big long sigh and your exhale will be followed by a lovely long deep inhale. And now you're ready to engage with clarity, balance and purpose in the present moment. It's an interesting thing, happiness. Happiness is something we all aspire to, isn't it? We want to be happy, we want other people to be happy. And let me explain why I have a director's cutting board in the image in front of you. So we all have a movie inside our heads of how we expect our life to be, but then there's reality. We're happy if our life matches our movie in our head, but we're disappointed if it doesn't. We're also disappointed when the characters in our movie don't respond or respond differently in real life to how we expect. This type of thinking creates a gap between our expectations and our reality. When our mind notices this gap, it asks why. The answer to this question can spiral us into a cycle of negative thinking. Why am I not happy? Because, and we fill in the gap. Because I'm not attractive enough. Nothing ever works out for me. I'm not smart enough. I'm not trying hard enough. I'm not good enough. Everyone's better than me. With mindful awareness, we become aware of the gap. I like to use the phrase mind the gap because this is something that a lot of people recognise, this expression, mind the gap. If anyone's been to a train station, usually you'll hear over the loudspeakers, mind the gap, and they're talking about the gap between the edge of the platform and the edge of the train. And this is a very dangerous place to live. And a lot of us people live in this gap where we won't actually get into our lives, we won't show up fully or enjoy our lives or allow ourselves to feel any sense of happiness or feelings of success until our life matches the movie in our head. And so once we start to become more mindful, we realize that this movie in our head is just mind-made fiction once again. It's just our thinking. And in some case, all we need to do is just get rid of the movie in our head and recognize it, that it is there, and turn our expectations into appreciation. And I've seen this make huge changes in people's lives. When they start showing up fully for what's in front of them, for their life, this allows them to take full advantage of everything all the opportunities in front of them. And then their lives turn out better than what they ever expected. And whatever shows up in their lives, they begin to appreciate instead of always comparing with that movie in our head. So just keep this in mind as you're journeying through life, and just have a little bit of a laugh now and then perhaps. And just think to yourself, just mind the gap so you can actually turn up and be present for your life rather than waiting until it matches the expectation in your head, the movie in your head. So we learn to throw away the movie and approach our life with curiosity, gratitude, and kindness. Now let's take a look at another really important part of mindfulness, and that's acceptance. Now, a lot of people get a bit confused about acceptance, and I know I resisted acceptance a lot at first. I was like, well, what do you mean I have to be accepting? That sounds like being a doormat, letting people walk all over me, not standing up for myself. But in actual fact, it's the complete opposite. By accepting the present moment, we get to make choices. I like to use the analogy of someone being given a gift that's wrapped up. And if they refuse that gift, if they don't accept it, just like if we don't accept the present moment or accept the reality that's in front of us, we don't get to actually make any choice. So instead of resisting that gift, if I take it and unwrap it and take a look at it, then I can get to make a choice. I can decide, is this something that's going to help me in my life? Or is it perhaps something that I need to pass on to someone else? Is it something that I've already got? Do I need to recycle it? Or perhaps it's something that I take into my life and use, take advantage of. But if I don't accept that gift in the first place, I don't unwrap it, I don't engage in life, I don't get to make any choice. So what's this got to do with the image in front of you? Let me explain. A little story about acceptance. This girl wanted to be at the concert over the weekend, but she missed out, so she's at work. She's getting nothing done as she's so annoyed. She really wanted to be at that concert because she'd been expecting to meet the man of her dreams there. And she's so caught up in resisting the present moment that she fails to look around at the office. And if she opened to this present moment and accepted it, she would see the amazing guy sitting behind her, who she could possibly be the man of her dreams. She could fall in love, and things could work out much better for her than if she'd gone to the concert. But she chooses to be resistant of the present moment, so she doesn't get an opportunity to take advantage of what's right in front of her. Now, this is just a silly little story, but stories are great sometimes because they stick in our mind. So what is it in life that you're resisting? Are there times where you're just not showing up fully for your life because it doesn't match the picture in your head, or it's not exactly how you wanted it? And how differently would things work out for you if you opened to this present moment with curiosity and started showing some appreciation rather than pushing things away and resisting? When we accept, we engage, and we get to make choices. So in essence, when we're not accepting, we're resisting. And you may have heard of the phrase, what you resist persists. And sometimes life can feel like an uphill battle. Mindfulness helps us become resilient, and instead of resisting the difficult, we embrace it. Life is full of ups and downs. The principles of mindfulness work against the popular positive thinking mindset. Positive thinking is simply a habit that encourages us to push away, disallow, fix, rise above, block out, or ignore any emotion or situation we judge as bad. To avoid difficult emotions or situations, we distract ourselves with TV, overeating, overworking, over-controlling, alcohol or drug abuse, amongst many other things. The things we do to avoid difficult situations or emotions cause us more strife than the emotions or the situations themselves. This is counterintuitive and is not serving society well. We have all-time high levels of depression, stress, and anxiety. Mindfulness teaches us to turn towards challenging situations or emotions, People are often surprised by their resourcefulness and capacity to be able to then respond wisely to the difficulty. So you can see in this picture here, this man has got a very steep uphill mountain to climb. And instead of resisting and just sitting there, he's actually digging in, he's engaging fully. You can see the little pick in his hand. He's engaging fully and turning towards the difficulty and making his way up. So just noticing again what you're resisting in your life and seeing if you can bring some acceptance to it and turning towards the difficulty. So with mindfulness, we put the welcome mat out for all of our emotions and we don't judge them as good or bad, because every single emotion is a resource we can use in order to decide how situations in life are serving us. So we approach our emotions with curiosity and kindness. What are they there to teach us? To respond wisely in life, we need to engage all of our emotions. That's why we have them. Sometimes in life you'll find yourself holding on to things. Perhaps this is in a way of not forgiving yourself or others for things that you've done or that they've done to you. Could be big or small. And this can cause a lot of mindlessness, a lot of unnecessary worry. We can spend a lot of time caught up in arguments inside our head with people who've wronged us, or we can spend a lot of time in our head thinking about how terrible something that we've just done is and how it's going to affect us in the future. And so this can cause us all sorts of very difficult thinking, which, as we know, can then cause stress in our body. And so just let's have a look at the process of letting go and how difficult it is. And here's a quote here from Eckhart Tolle, and he says, "Sometimes letting things go is an act of far greater power than defending or hanging on. And it's our tendency of our human mind to always want to hang on to things and get tied up, once again letting our thoughts take control. And if we can actually witness what's going on and the effect of these difficult thoughts on our body, and then we start to realize that in actual fact we have the choice about what we do in terms of letting go, forgiving ourselves and others. I just want to share a little story with you. This story is a great way to actually let a little thought slip into your mind. So a senior monk and a junior monk were travelling together. At one point they came to a river with a strong current. As the monks were preparing to cross the river, they saw a very young and beautiful woman also attempting to cross. The young woman asked if they could help her cross to the other side. The two monks glanced at one another because they had taken vows not to touch a woman. Then without a word the older monk picked up the woman, carried her across the river, placed her gently on the other side and carried on his journey. The younger monk couldn't believe what had just happened. After rejoining his companion, he was speechless, and an hour passed without a word between them. 2 more hours passed, then 3. Finally, the younger monk couldn't contain himself any longer, and he blurted it out. "As monks, we are not permitted to touch a woman. How could you then carry that woman on your shoulders?" The older monk looked at him and replied, "Brother, I set her down on the other side of the river. Why are you still carrying her?" Letting go is an act of radical kindness to yourself. It takes a lot of courage and awareness. It is also a choice. Choose wisely. As you start learning mindfulness and practicing mindfulness in your own life, you become more accepting and less judging, more compassionate towards yourself. And as you do this, you'll find you naturally extend the same courtesy to others. And this helps to make your relationships begin to flourish. And you'll even find your relationship to those people that previously you found very difficult to be around may improve. And so this is a radical benefit, a wonderful benefit of practicing mindfulness. So just start to perhaps journal and notice how your relationships with other people are changing. I think it's a great time now to do this journaling exercise. This exercise helps us get to the qualities that have real significance to us, rather than the ones often admired and sought after. Perhaps the more superficial qualities. So what I'd like you to do is invite and encourage your thoughts to flow. Just set your timer for 5 minutes and write about anything that comes to mind when you read this prompt, even if it strays from the prompt. And once again, if you've nothing to write, just keep writing. I have nothing to write. There is no right or wrong. Just keep writing until the time is up. And when you start to describe the qualities of a person who's impacted your life in a positive way, someone who actually, when you think this is someone that you could actually go to in a time of need, and just really explore what are the qualities of that person, what makes them someone, that unique human being who you feel you can go to. And then just have a look. As I said, there's no right or wrong, but perhaps just be reminded of these things in life, the things that actually are worthwhile striving for, those things that you remember about someone else. I think our ability to impact others' lives and connect with others is our most valuable currency in life. So take your time and enjoy this exercise. You may want to repeat it often, just to be reminded of those important qualities. We may catch ourselves thinking life would be easy if it was just me. This is not the case. We are the human species. From an outsider's perspective, we don't behave like we're all the same species. We wage war, we allow others to starve while we have plenty to eat. The list is endless. Research shows we are fighting against nature and becoming more disconnected. This causes us stress and unhappiness, and it is against our wiring as human beings. Surprisingly, oxytocin is a stress hormone. Oxytocin is sometimes thought of as a cuddle hormone, so why is it a stress hormone? Perhaps because in times of danger we should huddle together. When life is challenging, we are encouraged to put on a brave face and carry on, looking successful on the outside and oftentimes suffering on the inside. Mindfulness helps us to embrace our vulnerabilities, which improves our sense of connectedness and well-being. It makes a workplace, family, and the world a kinder place to live. Once again, another story to help you appreciate this idea. It's called Hedgehogs and a Cold Winter Night, and it's adapted from Porcupines and the Coldest Winter Ever. It was a cold winter night and many hedgehogs began to shiver. The hedgehogs decided to huddle together. This way they covered and protected themselves. But the quills of each one wounded their closest companions, even though it felt good to share the heat with each other. After a while, they decided to distance themselves from one another to stop being wounded. As they did this, they began to freeze. So they had to make a choice, either accept the quills of their companions or die. Wisely, they decided to go back to being together. This way, they learned to live with the little wounds that were caused by the close relationship with their companion. But the most important part of it was that the heat that came from the others that enabled them to survive the cold winter's night. So I like to remind myself of this. The closer I am to someone, the more often things get difficult. And so just a reminder that even though the closeness with others can be prickly at times, we need each other to survive. And this little story serves as a great reminder. I know often when I have arguments with my 16-year-old daughter, she says to me, "It's just like the hedgehogs, Mum, isn't it? I love you, that's why it hurts so much." It's a wonderful thing to be reminded of. At the heart of mindfulness practice lies compassion. We start with self-compassion, and once we're able to show ourselves compassion, then we're able to radiate that out to others. And oftentimes when we're having difficulty with people, we're thinking of how different we are from them, how they're so this and we're so that, how I wish they would do this, but they're always doing that. So we're always looking for differences. And this meditation is a fantastic way to be reminded of how similar we all are. And just by doing this meditation, perhaps choosing someone to think about that you're having difficulties with, maybe a family member, someone at work, and just to remind you that although on the surface there's a lot of things that you have that are going on that are different and disagreements, that at the heart of that person, they're very similar to you. I'll read this meditation out for you now, and if you can just perhaps close your eyes and think of someone or some relationship that you're having difficulty with at the moment. The person I am thinking of has a body and mind just like me. The person I am thinking of has feelings, emotions, and thoughts just like me. The person I am thinking of has in his or her life experienced physical and emotional pain and suffering just like me. The person I am thinking of wishes to be free from pain and suffering just like me. The person I am thinking of wishes to be healthy and happy just like me. The person I am thinking of wishes to be loved just like me. And we're nearly at the end of session 3 and the end of this mindfulness course. And what I'd like you to do is just to have a think about how you've changed as a result of this course. So actually by doing this, we help anchor the learning that we've done over the last 3 weeks. Once again, if you're doing this course with someone else or you can share with someone else, do this in a mindful listening framework as I've explained before, when one of you talks and the other one listens in silence, and then you swap over and just put your timer on for perhaps two minutes. Or you can just journal. How have you changed? What are you doing differently? Are you pausing more, multitasking less? Are you more self-compassionate? You're more aware of your thoughts and the common themes going through your head. Just taking this time now to really explore what changes have occurred in you over the time of this course. And just like with anything, the more you put in with mindfulness practice, the more you get out. So if you want all the goodies, all the magic that comes with mindfulness practice, then you do have to work on it, and it does involve some discipline. Congratulations, you're at the end of our OVO 3-week mindfulness course. Now remember, this is a beginner's course, and we've really very much just done a whirlwind tour of many of the different concepts and practices involved in mindfulness. I encourage you to continue practicing. If you were doing this online and haven't done a classroom class, I think it's fantastic to find a teacher. and to work with others, and start integrating mindfulness into your life. So I wish you the best of luck. Remember, be gentle and kind with yourself, and just notice what comes up. Notice the days that you forget to practice, as well as the days that you remember, without judging either as good or bad.